how to add value to your commercial real estate. That is what this video series is about. Thanks for tuning in. We focus a lot on buyers on this channel. In this series, we're going to help commercial real estate owners, potential sellers, make sure their building is worth as much as it can be. Whether they sell or whether they just continue to hold, you want your investment to be optimized, and that's what this specific series is about. So this tip is going to be about cleaning up your leases. This is something that people don't like to do. They don't like reading leases. They don't like paying attorneys to put leases together. This is the less glamorous side of things, but something I highly, highly recommend. Oftentimes we see mom and pop owners or even institutional owners that are trying to save money, and they use really old lease forms that have typos, or they're vague, or they're incomplete. They don't address everything that they really should. And they just use that form because they've got it in Word, and they fill in the blanks and they get their tenant to sign it and they're good to go. I certainly understand why people would do that. It's the path of least resistance. It just kind of maintains the status quo. You probably think, well, all my other leases are like that, so I can't switch it now. Those are the excuses that we hear. With that said, having incomplete or vague leases or leases that don't address important things, that can really become a problem for you as a commercial real estate owner. Regardless of whether you ever plan on selling, having vague or incomplete leases can lead to lawsuits. It can lead to you losing money on things you should have been able to pass through but can't. There's just a lot of things that go wrong with it. So as much as nobody loves to pay legal fees, hiring an attorney to draft you a nice, clean, up-to-date lease is, in my opinion, always worth the money. So every year things are changing. There's different legislation, there's different regulations. So if you're using a lease form from 30 years ago, imagine how many things have changed, even just in technology and regulations and everything that your leases might not be addressing. So whether you're using kind of like a simple Word form that misses things, or whether you're using something that's really old. I mean, maybe someone paid an attorney 30 years ago. That's better than nothing. But my recommendation is to spend a little extra money to get a up-to-date, clean and thorough lease. And then you just start using that every single time one of your tenant leases ends. I mean, you can go to your tenant in the middle of their lease and you can say, hey, I want you to sign this new lease. Maybe if you have a good relationship, they're willing to do that. But what's more likely is you're just going to, over time, have to roll them onto your new, more complete lease. It takes work. Tenants don't like it. Tenants love to have very short leases. If you send someone a 40-page lease, it might give them some qualms. With that said, the tenant shouldn't want a short, vague lease either, because there's aspects that they need to be protected from that might not be in that current lease. So even though a tenant might gripe about it, at the end of the day, having a very thorough lease really benefits both parties. So once again, my recommendation is if you have a bunch of old leases or incomplete leases or handshake deals or month-to-month leases where the lease doesn't actually say you can go month to month, all of that stuff is problems waiting to happen, and it's going to hurt the value of your commercial real estate. Imagine if someone goes to buy your commercial real estate and they look at your leases and they go, man, these are a mess. They're incomplete. They're not thorough. They leave me open to all kinds of issues after I close. That is going to decrease what they're willing to pay for your building. There's no two ways about it. So that's why I feel like getting your tenants on the most up-to-date, thorough lease is something that's relatively inexpensive, not super time intensive, but it allows you to really add a lot of value to your commercial real estate without swinging a hammer or making any kind of physical improvement. This is just purely paperwork, but at the end of the day, commercial real estate, a lot of the value comes from your rent. It comes from your tenants. And so the lease is the contract that ensures your tenant pays rent. It ensures what they have to do and what their behavior and what the rules are. So those leases are extremely important to the value of your building. And if you just kind of maintain the status quo and keep sloppy leases, it's going to hurt the value of your building. So no one likes to do paperwork, but I just wanted to say that it's definitely worth the money. It's worth the time. And you should be thinking about rolling your tenants onto more updated leases as often as you can. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you got some value. Please hit subscribe and like. Once again, this is Commercial Real Estate Explained. We help people make informed decisions about commercial real estate. Thank you so much and have a great week.